Phil Heath, famously known as The Gift, is celebrated worldwide as a 7-time Mr. Olympia champion. While many people focus on his stage dominance and sculpted physique, the foundation of his success was built long before trophies and spotlight moments. His birth, upbringing, academic journey, athletic beginnings, and personal relationships all shaped the champion he would eventually become. Understanding these early chapters reveals the mindset and character behind the muscle. Birth and early background. Phil Heath was born on December 18, 1979, in Seattle, Washington, United States. Growing up in the Pacific Northwest, Heath was raised primarily by his mother. His upbringing was modest, structured, and rooted in discipline. Seattle's diverse and competitive sports culture exposed him early to athletics, particularly basketball, which became his first major passion from a young age. Heath displayed competitiveness and confidence. Unlike many future bodybuilders, he did not grow up dreaming of lifting weights or stepping on a bodybuilding stage. His early identity revolved around team sports, speed, and skill development. He was known as energetic, focused, and determined, traits that later translated seamlessly into bodybuilding. His childhood environment emphasized accountability and education. Heath has often spoken about the importance of discipline instilled during his youth. This early structure helped him develop the mental resilience required for elite competition later in life. High school years and athletic foundation. During high school, Heath began distinguishing himself as a basketball player. Though not the tallest athlete on the court, he compensated with speed, athleticism, and work ethic. He learned early how to compete against larger opponents, a theme that would later mirror his bodybuilding career when facing genetically gifted competitors. Basketball sharpened several attributes: explosive power, coordination, stamina, team communication, mental toughness. These elements formed the base of his future physique. Unlike athletes who began lifting strictly for aesthetics, Heath trained initially to improve performance. This functional approach developed his muscle density and neuromuscular control. Importantly, basketball also taught him how to handle wins and losses, publicly experience that prepared him for the scrutiny of professional bodybuilding. College life at the University of Denver. Phil Heath attended the University of Denver on a basketball scholarship. Playing as a shooting guard for the Denver Pioneers, he competed at the NCAA Division I level. While he was not destined for NBA stardom, his college career was significant for personal growth. At Denver, Heath majored in business administration. His academic focus demonstrated forward-thinking discipline. He understood the value of education and financial literacy, traits that later supported his business ventures and brand development. College life was transformative in several ways. Athletic maturity. Competing in Division I basketball demanded intense training, travel, and structured routines. Heath learned time management, physical conditioning strategies, recovery discipline, performance under pressure ethics. Systems later became vital in his bodybuilding preparation. Exposure to weight training. The basketball was his primary sport. Heath spent considerable time in the weight room. Strength training enhanced his vertical leap, speed, and durability. Coaches and teammates began noticing his natural muscular development. His shoulders, arms, and chest responded rapidly to resistance training. This was the first glimpse of what would become his trademark: round, full muscle bellies that appeared three-dimensional. Identity shift. After college, Heath faced a crossroads. His basketball career had reached its peak at the collegiate level. Without a professional basketball future guaranteed, he needed direction. It was during this transition that he began taking bodybuilding seriously. Encouraged by peers who recognized his exceptional genetics, Heath shifted his focus from performance athletics to physique competition, transitioned toward bodybuilding. In 2002, Heath entered his first bodybuilding competition. The transformation from basketball player to bodybuilder happened relatively quickly compared to many athletes in the sport. His muscular symmetry and structure drew attention almost immediately. His rapid rise was partly due to athletic conditioning-based neuromuscular control from basketball, discipline learned in team sports, strong academic and structured habitude. Earned his IFBB Pro card in 2005 and quickly established himself as a rising star. However, the seeds of this success were planted in his upbringing and collegiate discipline. Personal life. And Mary Phil Heath's personal life has drawn significant public interest. particularly his marriage to fitness competitor and personality Ginny Laxon. Marriage to Ginny Laxon. Heath married Ginny Laxon in 2007. At the time, both were active within the fitness community. Their shared lifestyle initially created common ground, as both understood the demands of dieting, competition, prep, and public scrutiny. However, the pressures of professional bodybuilding can be immense. Preparation for competitions like the Mr. Olympia requires months of strict dieting, training, travel, and media obligations. These demands can strain relationships. Heath and Laxon divorced in 2015. While the separation was private, Heath has acknowledged that balancing elite competition and marriage is challenging. Bodybuilding at the highest level demands obsessive focus, often leaving limited emotional bandwidth. Later relationship in 2017. Heath married Shuri Heath. Their relationship has been more private and centered on support and stability. Shuri has often been seen supporting Heath at competitions and public events. Marriage during championship years required maturity and boundary setting. Heath's later relationship reflects growth in balancing career and personal life. Challenges in married life. Alike bodybuilding affects relationships in several ways. Extreme dieting impacts mood and energy. Public scrutiny amplifies personal matters. Travel separates partners for extended periods. Training schedules dominate daily life. Heath has openly discussed how success can create both pride and pressure within personal relationships. Fame introduces additional expectations and outside opinions. Despite these challenges, he has emphasized the importance of communication and support systems, personality, and private life outside the stage. Phil Heath is described as analytical and business-oriented. His business degree played a role in managing sponsorships, branding, and long-term planning. He has invested in supplement companies and motivational platforms, demonstrating entrepreneurial vision beyond competition. While often perceived as highly confident, Heath has acknowledged insecurities and pressures during his reign. Maintaining a champion image while handling personal changes required emotional resilience. The balance between public and private. Heath's career highlights often overshadow his human experiences. Yet his early life and marriages reveal a disciplined upbringing, academic commitment, athletic versatility, personal evolution through relationships, growth through both success and adversity. His early years were not built on privilege, but on structure and effort. His college years refined discipline and strategic thinking. His marriages reflect the complexity of maintaining intimacy while pursuing world-level excellence. Legacy of his early foundations. Phil Heath's 7 Mr. Olympia titles are historic. However, those victories were constructed upon a competitive childhood, a disciplined student-athlete college experience, structured goal-setting habits, lessons learned from marriage and personal growth. Life demonstrates that champions are not formed solely in gyms, they are shaped by upbringing, education, relationships, and adaptability. Phil Heath's rise to 7-time Mr. Olympia champion was not accidental, sudden, or purely genetic. While his nickname, The Gift, reflects his exceptional muscle shape and fullness, his journey into the gym and eventually to the Mr. Olympia stage was shaped by key influences: mentorship, disciplined habits, and relentless refinement of his training philosophy. To understand who motivated him, who helped him reach Olympia, and what defined his gym life, we must trace the transformation from college basketball athlete to one of bodybuilding's most dominant champions. WHO motivated Phil Heath to join the GYM. 1. Athletic performance. His first motivation. Phil Heath did not initially join the gym to become a bodybuilder. His first reason for lifting weights was basketball. While playing at the University of Denver, Heath trained in the weight room to improve explosiveness, vertical jump, core stability, strength, endurance, injury prevention. Like most collegiate athletes, he followed structured strength and conditioning programs designed to improve court performance, not aesthetics. At this stage, the gym was a tool, not a destination, but something stood out. Coaches and teammates began noticing how quickly his body responded to training. His shoulders became rounder, his arms thicker, his chest fuller. His muscle bellies were unusually dense and symmetrical. The first motivation was not a single person. It was feedback. People around him consistently told him, "You should compete." 2. The key turning point: encouragement from local bodybuilders. After college, Heath faced a career transition. Without a professional basketball path secured, He reassessed his athletic future. This is where local bodybuilders and gym members played a critical role. One influential figure often associated with his early development is Jay Cutler, not as a direct mentor at first, but as inspiration. Seeing Cutler's success proved that modern bodybuilding could be financially viable and respected, but more immediately, it was the encouragement of people inside his local gym community in Colorado that pushed him to step on stage. They saw rare muscle insertions, natural roundness, exceptional symmetry. Heath eventually decided to test himself in competition. In 2002, he entered his first show and won, winning early as powerful motivation. That first victory shifted his mindset. The gym was no longer just a training facility. It became a competitive arena. WHO helped him reach Mr. Olympia. Phil Heath's rise to Olympia was not solo. Several key figures played pivotal roles. 1. His early coaching and competitive network. As Heath progressed from amateur to professional bodybuilding, he built relationships within the IFBB Pro circuit. He earned his pro card in 2005 at the NPC USA Championships. This victory granted him access to compete at the highest level. At this point, he began refining posing techniques, stage presentation, conditioning protocols, strategic peaking methods. Professional bodybuilding is not just about muscle. It is about timing, dryness, fullness, and presentation. 2. Influence of Jay Cutler and Heath entered the professional ranks. Jay Cutler was already an established Mr. Olympia champion. Cutler's training style, media presence, and professionalism influenced Heath's early career approach, though they would later compete against each other. Jay's blueprint demonstrated how to manage sponsorships, how to handle press, how to maintain conditioning year-round, how to structure off-season growth. Cutler did not carry Heath to Olympia, but he modeled what Olympia-level preparation required. 3. His own strategic discipline. Ultimately, the biggest force behind Heath's Olympia qualification was self-discipline. After earning pro status, Heath carefully selected competitions to qualify for Mr. Olympia. In 2008, he placed third at the Arnold Classic, signaling that he was a legitimate top-tier threat. By 2011, he defeated Jay Cutler and won his first Mr. Olympia title at the Mr. Olympia. No single person handed him that victory. It was earned through consistency, intelligent programming, progressive muscle development, psychological resilience. Phil Heath's complete GYM life. Now we enter the core of his identity. His life inside the gym. 1. Training philosophy. Precision over ego. Heath's gym life was defined by precision. Unlike extremely heavy lifters who chase maximal loads, Heath emphasized controlled repetitions, deep contractions, mind-muscle connection. Slow negative. Shah often described training as sculpting rather than brute force lifting. His belief: muscle grows when you stimulate it, not when you impress others. 2. Signature muscle group. Heath's gym identity became synonymous with 3D deltoids. Full biceps peaks, thick triceps, dense chest. The shoulders in particular were considered among the best in bodybuilding history. This wasn't accidental. He trained shoulders with high frequency and extreme focus on contraction angles. 3. Volume and intensity. Heath trained 6 days per week during contest prep. Typical split included chest and triceps, back, shoulders, arms, legs. Rotations lasted 60–90 minutes. He avoided overtraining but trained with high mental intensity. 4. Off-season vs. contest. Preface: gym life had 2 distinct phases. Off-season, high calorie intake, focus on adding size, moderate cardio, heavy compound lifts. Contest prep, increased cardio, reduced calories, higher rep ranges, sharpened conditioning. The gym atmosphere changed during prep, more focused, less social, more tactical. 5. The mental side of gym life. Heath often faced criticism during his Olympia reign, particularly regarding midsection control. The gym became both a sanctuary and a proving ground. When critics questioned him, he responded not with arguments but improvements. This mental toughness defined his gym character. 6. Handling injury. Elite bodybuilding is physically punishing. Heath dealt with minor joint stress, digestive challenges, abdominal surgery. Later in career, gym life required adaptation. He modified exercises, reduced ego lifting, adjusted recovery protocols. Longevity required intelligence, 7. Life during Olympia reign 2011-2017. Winning once is difficult. Winning 7 consecutive times requires extreme consistency from 2011 to 2017. Heath structured his entire year around Olympia preparation. His daily life revolved around meal timing, training schedule, recovery, media obligations, sponsor appearances. Gym was not optional. It was central. 8. Rivalries as motivation during his reign. Challenges included Kai Greene, Shawn Rhoden, Dexter Jackson. Each rivalry sharpened his gym focus. Heath trained knowing competitors were trying to dethrone him. Pressure can break athletes or refine them. For Heath, it refined him for 7 years. WHAT made his GYM life different. He treated bodybuilding like a business. He tracked progress meticulously. He understood stage presentation mattered as much as size. He embraced the mental warfare of competition. He trained with longevity in mind. Phil Heath's professional bodybuilding career is one of the most debated, celebrated, and analyzed eras in modern physique history. Known as the Gift, Heath dominated the 2010s with 7 consecutive Mr. Olympia titles, tying the legendary record of Arnold Schwarzenegger. But his journey was not defined by wins alone. His losses, controversies, and rivalries shaped his legacy just as much as his trophies. This deep analysis explores his complete professional wins, the significance of each Mr. Olympia victory, his major losses and what led to them, his most intense rivalries, the impact of his era on bodybuilding history. Yearly professional wins 2006-2010. Phil Heath earned his AFBB Pro card in 2005. His transition to professional competition was swift and impressive. 2006 Colorado Pro. Heath won his professional debut at the Colorado Pro. This immediate success signaled that he was not just another prospect, he was a serious contender. His strengths: full muscle bellies, round deltoids, elite symmetry, clean waistline judges, and fans began calling him the Gift because of his rare muscle structure. 2008 Ironman Pro and Arnold Classic breakthrough. Heath continued building momentum, placing high in major competitions and finishing third at the 2008 Arnold Classic, behind Jay Cutler and Dexter Jackson. This placement was crucial. It proved he could stand beside elite champions. The Mr. Olympia reign 2011-2017. The defining chapter of Phil Heath's career revolves around the Mr. Olympia competition. 2011, the first Olympia victory. Heath defeated reigning champion Jay Cutler in a shocking upset. Why he won: superior muscle fullness, cleaner waistline, youthful conditioning, aesthetic. Flauther's victory marked the beginning of a 7-year dynasty. 2012, solidifying authority. Heath returned bigger and more confident, his deltoids, arms, and chest overwhelmed competitors. Challenges like Kai Greene began emerging as serious threats. Heath retained his title convincingly. 2013, the rivalry intensified. Heath vs. Kai Greene rivalry reached peak tension. Kai brought dramatic stage presence, extreme conditioning, unpredictable posing routine. Heath countered with rounder muscle bellies, cleaner structure, balanced proportion. She won, but debate intensified. 2001 for narrow margin victory. Consider 2014, one of the closest contests of Heath's reign. Kai Greene appeared sharper and more dramatic in certain poses. Critics argued Heath's midsection began to show slight distension. Conditioning wasn't as crisp as previous years. Judges still favored Heath's fullness and structure. 2015 peak roundness. Heath displayed one of his most complete packages. His shoulders and arms appeared almost cartoonishly round. Kai Greene did not compete that year. Removing the most direct rival from the stage, Heath's dominance appeared secure. 2016 signs of pressure. By this point, expectations were enormous. Challenges such as Shawn Rhoden and Dexter Jackson were closing the gap. Heath maintained victory but faced increasing scrutiny regarding abdominal tightness. 2017 tying Arnold's record. Heath won his 7th consecutive Mr. Olympia, tying Arnold Schwarzenegger's record. However, Shawn Rhoden pushed him extremely close. Many believed the margin was minimal. The sport was shifting toward aesthetic balance again. Heath's reign stood historically strong, but pressure had intensified dramatically. His losses, while Phil Heath is remembered for dominance, His losses shaped his story significantly. 2018 Mr. Olympia the Fallon 2018. Heath aimed for an 8th Olympia title, a record-breaking achievement. He was defeated by Shawn Rhoden. Why he lost? Abdominal distension. Critics argued his midsection lacked control compared to Rhoden's streamlined aesthetic. Conditioning. Rhoden presented sharper lines and better flow. Era shift. Judges appeared to favor aesthetics and balance over extreme roundness. The loss ended Heath's 7-year reign. Emotionally, it was pivotal. Heath had been the face of the sport for nearly a decade. Losing altered his status instantly. 2020 comeback. 3rd place after abdominal surgery and recovery. Heath returned in 2020. He placed 3rd. The sport had evolved. Younger athletes were emerging. His era of dominance had passed, yet his return demonstrated resilience. His rivalry Ezrevillies defined champions. Heath's were intense and theatrical. Phil Heath vs. Kai Green. This was arguably the most dramatic rivalry of the 2010s. Kai Green brought artistry and emotional intensity. Heath brought structural dominance and psychological confidence. Their 2013 and 2014 Olympia face-offs included intense stare-downs on stage, tension-heated press conference. Fans were divided. Some favored Kai's conditioning. Others favored Heath's fullness. The rivalry boosted bodybuilding's mainstream attention. Phil Heath vs. Jay Cutler. Brief. Their 2011 battle symbolized a generational shift. Cutler represented established dominance. Heath represented the future. Defeating Cutler was symbolic. Phil Heath vs. Shawn Rhoden. Hoden embodied the aesthetic counter-movement to mass-dominant physique. In 2018, Rhoden's victory marked the end of Heath's era. Their rivalry was less theatrical than Heath vs. Kai, but equally historic. Phil Heath vs. Public perception. Perhaps his greatest rivalry wasn't a competitor. It was expectation. As a 7-time champion, scrutiny intensified annually. Every minor flaw was magnified. Waist control, conditioning, sharpness, stage confidencing. Champion meant defending perfection. Controversies during his career. Midsection debate. Critics argued that the mass monster era sacrificed aesthetics. Judging bias accusations, some believed his reputation influenced close decisions. Personality perception. Heath's confidence was sometimes interpreted as arrogance. He navigated these controversies while maintaining focus. Legacy of his wins and losses. Phil Heath's 7 Mr. Olympia victories place him among Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lee Haney, Ronnie Coleman. Defined an era of extreme fullness and 3-dimensional muscle development. His losses remind fans that dominance is temporary but impact is lasting. WHAT his career teaches. Genetic gifts require disciplined execution. Winning repeatedly increases scrutiny. Rivalries elevate greatness. Losses refine legacy. Era shifts can redefine judging standards. Final analysis. Phil Heath's career cannot be reduced to 7 trophies. It was a period of dominance, a series of intense rivalries, a chapter of controversial debates, a transition from champion to legacy figure. He entered bodybuilding with rare structure. He left it as one of the greatest champions in modern history. His wins built his reputation. His losses humanized him. His rivalries energized the sport, whether admired or criticized. Phil Heath shaped the 2010s in bodybuilding, and that impact remains permanent. After his dominant Mr. Olympia reign 2011-2017, Phil Heath faced serious physical complications involving his abdominal wall. What happened? Years of heavy lifting, intense intra-abdominal pressure, extreme bulking phases, contest prep dehydration cycles placed strain on his abdominal structure. Eventually, Heath required abdominal surgery to correct a hernia and structural damage. This was not cosmetic. This was medically necessary. For a bodybuilder, abdominal integrity is critical for core stability, heavy compound lifts, stage presentation, waist control after surgery. Recovery is long and psychologically challenging. Part 2. The fear every bodybuilder has when you are a 7-time Mr. Olympia champion. Your body is your identity. Surgery brings fear. Will I look the same? Will I compete again? Will my midsection recover? Will critics say I'm finished? For Heath, the surgery came after intense criticism about his midsection during the later years of his reign. So this wasn't just physical recovery. It was psychological warfare. Part 3. Returning after surgery. Many athletes retire after major surgery. Heath did not. He returned to compete in 2020. He placed third at Mr. Olympia. That placement meant something important. He was not done. He was not broken. He was not defeated. He proved resilience. Part 4, the fracture narrative, a symbolic interpretation wheel. He did not have a literal leg fracture leading to amputation. There was a symbolic fracture in his career. That fracture happened in 2018. The 2018 loss lost the Mr. Olympia title to Sean Roden. That loss shattered his 7-year dominance, his aura of invincibility, his chance at an 8th title for a champion used to winning. That can feel like a fracture, emotionally devastating, mentally destabilizing, but fractures can heal stronger. Part 5, WHAT if he had lost a leg. Motivational perspective. Let's speak hypothetically for motivation. If a champion like Phil Heath lost a limb, would that end strength? History shows us strength is not in the limb. Strength is in the mind. Bodybuilding is physical, but dominance is psychological. The gym teaches adaptation, reinvention, recovery, persistence. 7 if the body changes, the mindset can remain elite. Part 6, real injuries in his career. Like all elite bodybuilders, Heath experienced joint stress, muscle tears, chronic inflammation, digestive strain, recovery fatigue, but he trained intelligently. He emphasized controlled reps, mind-muscle connection. Smart volume recovery. Discipliner did not rely on reckless ego lifting. Part 7, GYM motivation from his adversity. No, let's shift to the motivational core. Phil Heath's career teaches several powerful gym lessons. 1. Your body will face stress. Progress demands stress, but intelligent athletes adapt. When injured, modify exercises. Don't quit training. Focus on recovery. Heath adjusted when needed. 2. Criticism can feel like injury. When critics attacked his midsection, when fans questioned judging, when rivals pressured him, he trained harder. Gym lesson, don't argue. Improve. 3. Surgery is not the end. Many lifters think, I had surgery, I'm done. Heath had abdominal surgery. He came back. He competed again. Recovery is slow, but discipline accelerates healing. 4. Champions are built in recovery. Retraining builds muscle. Recovery builds champions. Heath's post-surgery return required patience, humility, gradual progression, ego control. Some aims. Lifting lighter is harder mentally than lifting heavy. Part 8, mental toughness as GYM motivation. Phil Heath's greatest strength was not just his deltoid S.it, was his refusal to collapse under pressure. From 2011 to 2017 he carried the weight of expectation, the burden of defending titles, the scrutiny of fans, the intensity of rivalry. That mental pressure is heavier than any barbell, yet he lifted it. Part 9, if you are injured right now, if you're reading this and you're recovering from surgery, dealing with joint pain, feeling behind in progress, discouraged after fail, remember, Phil Heath lost his title. He underwent surgery. He faced global criticism, but he did not disappear. He rebuilt. Part 10, true GYM motivation is not hype. It's commitment during discomfort. Phil Heath's story teaches genetics open doors. Discipline keeps them open. Adversity tests ownership. Comebacks build legacy. Final truth, there was no deadliest fracture. There was no leg amputation. There was no physical collapse. But there were mental fractures, competitive losses, surgical setbacks, public scrutiny, and he endured them all. That is real strength.